Ball State University has a new Queen ruling campus. Good evening and welcome to NewsCenter at 5:30. I'm Amy Barnett.
And I'm Dustin Grove. Senior Jenny Keller is the newly crowned 2002 Miss Ball State University. It's our top story at 5:30. Jennifer's platform is domestic violence awareness, and she hopes to alert young women on the warning signs of an abusive relationship. She'll be competing in the Miss Indiana pageant in June, where she will compete for the chance then to run for Miss America. Keller received third place in last year's Miss BSU pageant. Be sure to tune in tonight on more on this story. Congratulations to Jenny, and certainly good luck to her. Freshman Kimberly Engel placed second, sophomore Lindsay Helmer third, freshman Danielle Bauman fourth, and sophomore Ashley Stewart fifth place.
Okay, we'll take a break now for news to check on our first forecast. Andrea joins us.
Roller coaster of a day out there. Spring and rain.
We started out having sunny, bright weather, then it got a little dreary, rain showers here and there. But for tonight, make sure you do have your umbrella handy. Going to be raining low around 28. We'll give you the rest of the forecast coming up a little later.
All right, thanks. Instead of the usual speech you might expect, Governor O'Bannon says his State of the State address tomorrow night will sound a whole lot different. He says he'll regretfully again be the bearer of bad news. He's expected to tell lawmakers that tax hikes can't wait another year because of our budget deficit and property tax crisis. That budget deficit we're talking about, it's an estimated $1 billion by the end of July next year. The State of the State address is tomorrow night at 7. We'll have a recap on NewsCenter at 9:30.
The FBI says they captured a man accused of killing his wife and 3 children and then later dumping their bodies off into the Pacific Ocean and off Oregon. Sources say Christian Longo was captured on the outskirts of Cancun over the weekend. Joe and Joy Longo of Indianapolis made a plea last month for their son Christian Longo to surrender to authorities. An FBI spokesman in Portland says Longo's arrest involved a number of local Mexican authorities accompanied by FBI agents. Longo was on one of America's 10 most wanted fugitives lists.
A young woman remains in critical condition tonight at Ball Memorial after a very fiery 3-car accident last night. It happened at Tillotson and Euclid Avenues. Muncie police say at 7:30, a maroon sedan heading southbound ran into a blue Honda Civic that was stopped at the intersection. The sedan pushed the Honda out into the intersection and caused the Honda to run into an oncoming car. The 5 people involved in the crash were all treated and released from the hospital. That other woman in serious condition tonight. A car almost hit an Indiana State trooper on Interstate 69 near the Delaware-Grant County line. Officer Mike Wiley was standing along the interstate talking to a motorist when he saw a vehicle heading for a squad car. Wiley escaped being struck by jumping on the hood of the car he had stopped. Philip Coomer of Fort Wayne was the driver that struck the squad car. Coomer says he was returning from a convention in Las Vegas when he fell asleep at the wheel. A passenger in Coomer's vehicle, Don McKee, suffered a broken leg.
And sad to report to you, another car accident claimed the life of a former Ball State student who was also a part of our family here at NewsCenter 43. 22-year-old Jennifer Henderleiter died Saturday in Montana when her car ran into a semi and then another rear-ended by another truck. Jennifer graduated last year and worked as a reporter in Montana. She worked for NewsCenter while she was here at Ball State. Our thoughts are certainly with her family and friends tonight. Tensions remain high at the India-Pakistan border. Authorities in Pakistan say they expect Indian forces to move back to their peacetime positions before Pakistan will consider moving their troops back. Both countries have sent hundreds of thousands of soldiers along the border. CNN's Tom Miniter has the latest from Islamabad.
It has become a potentially deadly game of political football. First the speech, then the reaction to the reaction. Today at the Foreign Ministry in Islamabad, Pakistan had their turn, saying that the Indians must remove their troops or at least move them back out of forward positions before the situation can get any better.
Pakistan is constrained to keep what it requires for its defense, again, close to the borders. And this is what gives rise to friction and increased tension.
If there is to be any mediation to reduce the tensions between India and Pakistan, it may come later this week when the U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell visits both capitals, stopping first in Islamabad. Here he will meet with the president for discussions and also talk to the foreign minister. If there is a message to be taken from Islamabad to New Delhi, it may be taken by Mr. Powell. Tom Miniter, CNN, Islamabad, Pakistan.
If you're planning on riding the friendly skies this Friday, be ready to have your luggage checked. The Aviation Security Act takes effect in just 4 days. It requires all baggage to be screened before it's loaded into the plane's cargo hold. This leaves airlines scrambling to meet federal regulations. CNN's Kathleen Koch has the story.
In a perfect world, all checked luggage would be screened by million-dollar explosive detection machines. But only 161 are available and thousands needed to check the 3.5 million bags airlines handle every day. So in the new aviation security law, Congress gave airlines what some call flexibility, others too much leeway. One option, they can bag match, ensure no luggage goes on a plane unless the passenger who checked it is on board. Airlines warn that could cause massive delays if they're forced to remove bags every time a passenger misses a connection or is bumped from an overbooked flight. Critics, including flight attendants, insist bag matching alone won't work.
Because you have to allow for the possibility of a suicide bomber. Someone who doesn't care if they're on the airplane and it blows up.
Another alternative, manual searches. Airlines say that's time-consuming and raises problems of theft or breakage of passenger belongings. Option 3, bomb-sniffing dogs. But security experts warn the tedious work could lead to inattention.
We haven't used dogs for repetitive tasks of screening or sniffing hundreds and indeed thousands of bags going on hour in, hour out.
Finally, the loophole clause, other approved means or technology. It's unclear what that includes. Some airlines tell CNN they'll rely mostly on bag matching. Others, like Southwest Airlines, are still pushing for more time to meet the requirements. The budget carrier uses numbered cards instead of boarding passes, so it can't track passengers well enough to do bag matching. Families of September 11th victims say there should be no extensions.
This is the standard that the airlines have to be held to. If they can't implement the procedures by the deadline, then that airline should be shut down until they can do it.
Some airlines are doing bag screening trial runs, at least one seeing dozens of flights delayed. It's increasing concern that the new measures, at least initially, could lead to aviation gridlock. Kathleen Koch, CNN Reagan National Airport.
President Bush visited a John Deere plant in Illinois today, talking about a campaign for expanded trade. Bush told about 1,500 workers and supporters at the plant in East Moline that the nation needs to open up markets, not close them down. He said if the playing field is made level, trade can create jobs all across America. Bush began his appearance with a series of jokes about yesterday's pretzel incident. A pretzel went down the wrong way as Bush watched football on TV.
More controversy now surrounds the largest bankruptcy case in U.S. history. An attorney for shareholders at Enron Corporation say top executives cooked the books. They've shredded the evidence as the energy corporation started to collapse. William Lirac says 29 top executives and directors sold about $1 billion in stock. They now admit that at the time they were overstating the reported profits. And meanwhile, Time magazine is reporting that auditing firm Arthur Andersen instructed its employees in a memo to destroy anything related to Enron just days before the company went bankrupt. Arthur Andersen acknowledges its employees destroyed documents, but hasn't revealed the memo directing them to do so.
And the United States Supreme Court has refused to consider reinstating Eli Lilly's Prozac patent. The Indianapolis-based drug maker has been in a court fight for 6 years over the rights to the lucrative antidepressant. Generic versions of Prozac went on sale shortly after the Federal Appeals Court invalidated Lilly's patent on the drug last year. That patent would have protected Lilly's monopoly on Prozac until December of 2003. The drug was one of the Lilly's best-selling drugs, accounting for about 1/4 of the company's sales.
Indianapolis-based Anthem Insurance announced today it will buy out the largest health insurance provider in Kansas. Policyholders approved the deal, which now makes Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas a part of Anthem Insurance. More than 63,000 policyholders voted in favor of the deal, and over 36,000 voted against it. Insurance Commissioner Kathleen Sebelius is expected to approve the merger next month. Weather coming up next. Hi, Andrea.
Guess what? You guys are going to have to bundle up for the next few days.
No
we have
kidding.
a front system going through, and we're going to give you all the details coming up next.
Okay.
It's about time.
Well, temperatures well above normal here in East Central Indiana. Today's high reaching 50 degrees here in the Muncie area, and the low only got down to 38, which is even above the freezing point, so incredibly nice outside. And for our highs around the area, as you can see, it went all the way down to Evansville in 52. South Bend, a little cooler, 47, but still all these temperatures are much milder than what we normally see in our area around this time of the year. Currently here in Muncie, cloudy out, a few sprinkles here and there, temperature around 48, and the winds are still strong at around 15 miles an hour. Taking a look, as you can see over here in the West Coast, not much we can talk about, but all that system is moving towards this area. Satellite image showing lots of clouds, and a swath of all this is all moving off towards the east, which are showing some showers even down towards the Florida area. And taking a look at the radar of the United States, you can see a few showers here in our area, but the main storm system and the main area of rain is all conglomerating and accumulating down in the area, so they're going to see a good inch of rain or two possibly tonight. Looking closer at our area, just towards the Garrett area, and some lake effect snow is coming through, going to be dropping down some snow in those parts of Michigan. But in our area, just a few drops of rain here through the evening hours, so do make sure you do have your umbrella handy if you're going out tonight. And looking through that area, you can see this system, low pressure, going to be moving through, pushing off towards the east coast, but even has this hot air pressure sticking around, still cooler air is going to be coming down, bringing our temperatures a lot colder than what we've seen today. And lows for tonight are going to be around the teens in some areas, and our area is going to be around 30. And looking closer in for tonight, we can see scattered showers are expected, a low of around 28 degrees, and continuing throughout that area tomorrow morning, clouds are going to be sticking around. Temperature going to be right at that freezing point at around 32, so make sure you have your hat and gloves ready for tomorrow. And as you can see on the map here, we do have that pressure still coming up, but it's just going to be, nice, partly cloudy skies around for the weekend, but still a lot colder in temperature. And tomorrow's highs are going to be around the 30s, possibly the 40s for the tidbit area of Indiana. And looking for tomorrow in our area, those clouds are going to be sticking around, high possibly only getting to 34, so a lot different than what we've seen today. And the winds are going to be sticking around. And for our 3-day outlook, you can see with that colder air coming in, we could be seeing some scattered snow flurries coming in, 35. By the weekend, the sun's going to be out, going to be kind of mild, and temperatures are still going to be a lot cooler. So today you might just, have been dragging that coat around. Well, you're actually going to have to put it on now.
Oh, that's too bad. I enjoyed today's 50 degrees.
I did too. I was all about it. But
well, I guess it is January.
Just a nice break.
Exactly.
That's the way to look at it.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Andrea.
Well, Brian Days joins us for sports.
Some highlights coming up.
You bet. We got Ball State at Toledo, and also we got some NFL football that just started over the weekend. So we'll have everything coming up for you when we come back.
Sounds good.
Did you
On Saturday night, Ball State traveled to Toledo for conference action, and we have the highlights. First off, we have Matt McCollum, who swings it around to Chris Williams for the trifecta. Williams finished with 11 points on limited minutes due to fouls, and Theron Smith tips a rocket pass up to Williams, who misses the finger roll, but Smith gets rewards for hustling and gets the flush. Smith again this time tickles a twine with a fadeaway jumper. Then McCollum and Brian Burns play a little inside-outside game to get the easy two. And now here comes Lonnie Jones. And you know what they say about guys that are 7 foot, don't you? They're supposed to have a huge dunk. The Cards roll into a 68-59 win and advance to a 10-5 record and 3-1 in the MAC. Smith led the team with 20 points and 14 rebounds for his 9th double-double in the past 12 games. A new AP poll was released earlier today, and a new team is standing on top. The Dukies regain the #1 spot and are followed by Florida and Maryland. Kansas falls from 1st to 4th place after losing to UCLA, and a reminder, Ball State disposed of both teams in the Maui. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State stay at 5 and 6. Cincinnati, Syracuse, and UCLA move up in the rankings as Virginia falls back to 10th. What did the crystal ball show for Gators coach Steve Spurrier? Well, it presented a large sum of money in his future, $25 million over the next 5 years to be exact. The Washington Redskins hired Spurrier today in place of Marty Schottenheimer, who was fired last night. Spurrier is now the highest paid coach in NFL history. On Sunday night, the Dolphins travel to Pro Player Stadium and take on the Ravens. There's Coach Bill Bullock. And Dave Wanstedt and the Dolphins were hoping to perform a little better than the 27-0 beating they took from the Raiders in the AFC Division game last year. Now here's Ravens' Jermaine Lewis, who spit up the kickoff and laying it in the Dolphins' hands, and much hand slapping was happening on the Dolphins' sidelines. But back to the start of the kickoff. Who says kickers aren't tough? Miami's Matt Turk from the Warhawks of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater lowers the shoulder into Western Illinois alum Edgerrin Hartwell to back up his blocker. However, that's about the extent to the Miami Fire as Terry Allen flew the Ravens into the next round of the playoffs with a 20-3 win. And the Niners traveled to Lambeau Field to take on the Packers in the frozen tundra yesterday. And after a back-and-forth game, the Pack came out on top 25-15. However, Brett Favre said the team will need to step up if they want to beat the Rams on Sunday.
Played better than the way we played today to beat St. Louis. I mean, I think everyone in here knows that. They're a great football team. You have them at their place. Everything is in their favor.
The wild card weekend is now over, and the Ravens, Packers, and Eagles survived to be eligible to travel to Louisiana and play in the Superdome on February 3rd. And here's how the brackets will look for the upcoming weekend. The Raiders will travel to Foxborough. Baltimore will truck their Lombardi Trophy to Pittsburgh. Brett Favre and Kurt Warner will face off for the first time as the Pack face the offensive phenomena of St. Louis. And the Eagles will go to Soldier Field to take on the Bears. Playoff games weren't the only sport on the tube last night. NBA action was in full force. And the Kings, yes, the Kings, extended their winning streak to 8 with a 103-100 win over Phoenix to bring them to a tie for first place in the Lakers in the Pacific Division. Ball State's own Bonzi Wells led the Blazers with 18 points in their spanking of the Cavs. And the Clippers ended a 4-game skid last night with a 79-72 win at Toronto, in which Vince Carter was the lone Raptor to score in 19 minutes of the second half. And for you not familiar with sports, that is not good. And that is it with sports.
Wow, lots of stuff going on.
And now finally we know where Spurrier's going.
Yeah, I'm sure he's happy with the $25 million over the next 5 years in
That's a
Washington.
lot of money.
That's not too bad.
I wouldn't mind having that.
Me either.
Yeah. Okay. Well, when NewsCenter returns, Andrea Burnatz will take one last look at this week's weather.
Plus, we'll show you how the terrorist attacks are influencing a popular film festival. Be right back. Hope you enjoyed the sunshine and warm temperatures today, because Andrea says
it's going away.
Right.
Going to be seeing some clouds in our forecast for tonight. Scattered showers possible, low around 28. And then for tomorrow morning, clouds are going to be hanging around. Temperature only around 32. Make sure you have your hat and gloves ready, Dustin. Tomorrow the clouds still hanging there. High only around 34. And then for the 3-day outlook, you can see some scattered snow, possibly Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The sun's going to start peeking out, but still colder temperatures hanging around.
Okay, great.
Andrea.
Thank you. Well, the Sundance Film Festival is in full swing today. Many of the documentaries being screened at the annual celebration in Utah reflect on the events of September 11th.
Paul Clinton is at the festival and has our story.
New York is also not good victims. It's not our style.
From the Ashes is one of 5 documentaries about September 11th, screening at the Sundance Film Festival. Director Deborah Schaefer follows numerous artists who worked and lived in the shadows of the World Trade Center, showing how the tragedy affected them.
They run in the building when we're running out. I mean, they had to know they were going to die.
The documentaries dealing with the 9/11 tragedy screening here at Sundance all approach the event from very different points of view, but none are meant to be the final word.
There's no way it could be definitive. It's 4 months since it happened. I mean, I feel very unresolved about what it meant, why it happened, what our next move should be, how we should deal with it.
Through a variety of images, the films capture the mood of New York and the spirit of its residents.
I had a little mini video camera in my bag, and I pulled it out to film some of the site, and immediately started becoming obsessed with these faces, this sort of the soul opening up on people when they arrived at the site and started looking often up in the air at something that wasn't there.
Etienne Surette penetrated deep into the shattered landscape with his camera. He decided not to embellish his film with music.
You were walking on a cemetery without tombstone, so that sets a particular atmosphere. That's why in the film we left all the sounds, all the natural sound.
The Sundance program included the haunting images of a Trade Center victim who foresaw the threat of terrorism and the emotional sound of people brought together to record a new version of We Are Family, 11 days after the attack.
We are family. Brothers and my sisters and me.
Paul Clinton, CNN, Park City, Utah.
Well, nice to see some good and interesting films coming out of the horrible events.
Some of the people on there said how they didn't really know what to think about it. And in that case, I think it's good to have those types of things where people can come together and just talk about it and have their opinions.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us at 5:30. I'm Dustin Grove.
And I'm Amy Barnett. NewsCenter 43 is an official CNN student bureau. Make sure you tune in tonight for NewsCenter at 9:30. Have a good evening.
See you.